Are you looking to heal some of the many ailments that you're experiencing or poor health symptoms, and you're interested in alkaline detox bathing? Then this is the video for you. My name is Jin, and I'm a detox specialist in Toronto, Canada. I've been working with alkaline detox baths for over a decade, and I'm just so honored to get to share with you how these could benefit you on your healing journey. So you're interested in alkaline detox purification baths, and you don't want to run a full bath. You want to do a foot bath. That is absolutely no problem. I'm here to share with you everything you need to know about alkaline detox salt baths, but for the feet. I don't know if you realize, but acids and toxins, even stored up in the brain and the head region, can come out through the feet. So stick around and learn everything you need to know about these alkaline salt foot baths. The soles of the feet contain thousands of sweaty and sebaceous glands. I don't know how many thousand per square centimeter, and I know it's a lot. So this is how the body can dump its waste just even out through the soles of the feet. If it's full baths you're interested in, I have 3 previous videos that I posted recently. Just check my profile on Instagram and you'll see those there. Of course, a full bath, you're hitting your other areas of elimination and you're more likely to dump a larger amount of waste into the bath water, and therefore purifying this beautiful temple in a more efficient way. However, the foot baths work very, very well, especially if you don't have a bathtub or you don't have the proper mobility to go in and out of the tub. First things first is we need to talk about the pH. So how to achieve the ideal pH of 8 to 8.5. This is actually just based on nature. This comes from a healthy mother-to-be's amniotic fluid pH. So we basically replicate the amniotic fluid in the form of a bath. And in this case, we're talking about foot baths. So you can just use a dish pan, you get from the dollar store or any fancy foot baths that you might have. To achieve this pH, you can use a combination of Epsom salts, sea salts, and baking soda. You'll need the majority of the salts to be the Epsom salts and the sea salts, which are 7.35 pH, and then you'll add just a little bit of baking soda. Okay, now, if you have access, this is the little Alka bath that I use for my foot baths. And set yourself up for success, especially those of you who are in your menopausal years. For females who are experiencing hot flashes, set it up so that it's simple and easy. For example, underneath my kitchen sink, I keep my little Alka bath salts, and then I keep a towel. And this is where I have my kettle, because I'll tell you why that's going to be important in a minute. Foot baths as an alternate to full bathing is such a wonderful way to go if, for example, you're traveling and you are unable to really have access to a bathtub. You can bring your little salts with you or access the other salts I discussed, perhaps in the country that you're visiting or wherever you are in the world. And if you have access to Alka bath, you can just use a teaspoon of these salts per liter of water. And this is going to give you the 8 to 8.5 pH. You can check in with a pH strip and just confirm that the bath water is this pH value, because this is so that the body can dump its acids and toxins into this very beautifully alkaline water. You wouldn't want it to be too alkaline. For example, if you use just baking soda on its own, which is a 10.5 pH, that is too alkaline, meaning that it's going to be corrosive in the way that an acid would be corrosive. So we stick to the 8 and 8.5 pH value. That's the first thing to know. And then the temperature is going to need to be a bit hotter than you would do for a full bath, because the temperature of the bath water will go down. The temperature of the bath water is going to cool relatively quickly. So I always bring a kettle with me. I set myself up with the towel. I bring my foot bath over, and about halfway through my foot bath, because I am soaking them for an hour, my feet, or even an hour and a half if I have the time and opportunity and patience. So about 30 minutes in, you might add some hot water from the kettle, but you will take your feet out and be very careful. With the kettle, of course, you're working with boiled water, and you'll need to be careful. And it's wonderful and comfortable to have a nice warm to hot temperature for the foot baths. You're doing it safe, and the temperature, it's gonna come down again, so you'll repeat this maybe 2 or 3 times depending on the duration. And this is just wonderful to soak the feet for a long duration. A minimum of 30 minutes is recommended for foot baths to ensure efficacy. I received some questions about how affordable the Alka bath salts are, and they truly are an economical option. You'll see that when you use a teaspoon with each liter of water, when you go to stir it in, the water will feel silky. That's when you know you've used enough. And with Epsom salts, you will need a big cup to be equivalent. So there really is a benefit if you can access Alka bath salts. It is a German product, so just see, and you can always send me a DM or an email, and I can assist you with locating some of those depending on where in the world you are. Another question I received is it okay to do these alkaline baths on a daily basis? And it's absolutely safe and desirable to do alkaline bathing on a daily basis. I know for me personally, in the summer months, I don't do as much. I find obviously a winter bath, like who doesn't want a warm bath in the winter, right? Is very soothing. However, I'm at that age now where I'm gonna need to be doing a lot of these alkaline baths to compensate for less of a menstrual cycle. So women that are at that age where they no longer have their regular menses or they're less frequent will truly benefit from alkaline baths, because they compensate for the loss of the menstrual cycle in the way that they move waste out, and especially if you're doing it regularly. I received some great feedback from one of my clients who's moving through some menopausal symptoms of hot flashes, saying that doing alkaline baths daily, or even just at least 4 or 5 times a week, has truly helped her to sleep through the night and have less hot flashes. So she's having a better sleep and experiencing less of that burning, which I have spoken about. I have a video on menopause. You can go back and check that. Also, it's more easy to search on YouTube. So just look for my full name, Jeanette Anakini, for my YouTube channel to check out that video on why women actually have these hot flashes when we get to that point in our life. You know, and of course, I hinted earlier, it has to do with the loss of the menses, which is a detox that we had every month in our fertile years. So in this video, I covered the pH value in which to soak, the temperature, and the duration. And the last thing I want to speak about just briefly is that I use these beautiful body brushes with these natural bristles. I source them from the same supplier, the same manufacturer, P. Gensura products, and you can brush in the direction of the tips of the toes. So you're basically brushing the soles of the feet toward the tips of the toes every 10 minutes while you're soaking your feet in the foot bath. So you have to ensure to get a wet brush, one that can be submerged in the water without becoming damaged, and just supporting the direction of elimination to dump a larger amount of waste into the bath water. And in the 3-part series on the alkaline full baths, I discussed how you can take a pH strip to the water 3 times. So one, when you run the bath, it's going to be 7.25 as your tap water. The second time to test is once you've added the salts, should be 8 to 8.5. If you're using a traditional pH strip, it should turn a dark blue color. And then the third time is once I've finished my foot bath, maybe I've soaked for half an hour, or an hour and 30 minutes, I can test then and see the change in the bath water pH. So often there'll be a 10 times change where it will go from 8, for example, down to 7. And that means I've dumped so much acids because that's 10 times more acidic than I initially began with. I just want to say how grateful I am that you tuned into this video today and that you're here with me on my healing journey. And I'd love to be of any support to you. If you're looking for one-on-one detox support, please send me a DM or an email, jin@thehealingjunction.ca. Wishing you all the best.